we all signed the papers, like when he assigned who was on each piece, I should have been a little speaking up for my, because I said when I gave him the money for the house, I said, why don't you put our names on that title? Well, Robyn needs her estate. I'm so dumb.
I am here for Meri and Janelle joining forces and deciding to take this man to court if need be so that they can get their money, because at the end of the day they paid into this family. They deserve what they put in and more, and as I've always said, I feel like they deserve a share of McMansion and they deserve a share of Coyote Pass. With McMansion they deserve equity as well. Whatever it's accrued since it was bought, they deserve that. And the audacity for this man to try and make us believe that he and Robyn paid more for Coyote Pass than anybody else. Seriously, we've watched the show. Which season outside of them talking about My Wife's Closet, when did we ever hear that Robyn went to work? When did we ever see her do anything that provided income outside of spending money that belongs to the family? I don't get it. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Sister Wives, Season 19, Episode 22. I am here for this. So you have Janelle meet up with Meri at Coyote Pass. And part of me believes that Janelle is doing this out of the kindness of her heart. The fact that she knows that Meri has been undercut by Cody in regards to the sharing of the property. And I think the other part of me thinks that her lawyers must have told her, since you didn't have a legal marriage to Cody, if you can't go to court on your own, your case might be better suited if you and Meri go singing the same tune. Then the judge will be more likely to sort of side with you, because you'll realize that it's not just you being outdone by this man and this is what this man is doing. That's the skeptical side of me. That's what I think. Anyway, they're walking around Coyote Pass and Janelle is actually telling Meri what was going on and how the land was split. And Meri brings up the fact that she tried to question it, but when she questioned it, she got in trouble for questioning it. And I think part of me believes that Meri really wanted her marriage to work to Cody. So she tried to sort of cause as little friction as possible, hoping that if she did that, then Cody would see that she was a good sister wife and he would come back home to her. But it didn't work out for her. And sadly for her, I think Cody was trying to sort of get rid of her by not getting rid of her, by making her sort of be exhausted by the whole thing and then having her say, okay, I'm done, I'm going. And that's what he expected. The ladies are right to say that he keeps, holding back and holding back. We don't know whether he wants us to give up. And I think this is what Cody was thinking, that the ladies should give up. Janelle is right to also say that when Robyn's property was bought, they should have had their names put on that deed, because their money went into that sort of property, but that wasn't done. And they both sort of agree that as a family, right at the start, they sort of decided that we're a pro family, we're going to be pooling our funds and we're going to use those funds to look after the family. And for 20 odd years before Robyn came in, that worked out great for them, up until Robyn came in, and then it was decided that, Robyn needed her own assets and so the wealth needed to be divided. Even though Janelle incurred a lot of debt, paying off the family's debt, even though Meri was working and she was putting in all her money, and she only had one child who was benefiting from that money pool that they were creating. So both ladies have every right to be aggrieved. If I know the properties have now sold, in my opinion, this is what I think. I've always championed this, that Janelle and Meri deserve half of Coyote Pass. They also deserve half of McMansion. But if they're not going to get McMansion, then in that case, they deserve the 4-acre property, the 2-acre, I think, and so they deserve 2/3 of the property is more or less what I'm saying. At the end of the day, they deserve 2/3 of the property, and Cody can get whatever he wants, him and his diesel wearing princess, as Janelle called her, because I don't get why he's holding on to the properties. I think Cody was smart. He knew these ladies. If he came to Coyote Pass, I think when they came to Coyote Pass, his plan was always to stay with Robyn and leave the rest of his wives. And this is why he didn't want them to leave, because they knew he was money bags. So he put his name on all the properties. That way they couldn't sell without his permission. But at the same time, he still didn't want to be a husband to all of them. So he was looking for a way out of those marriages, but to still have those women be indebted to to him, still support and finance his and Robyn's lifestyle. That's the impression that I get. You have Christine, Aspen, and McKelty. Well, she's telling them about her Valentine's plans. Well, the fact that she's trying to get something to wear for Valentine's, because this is her first Valentine's after she got married to David. The girls are excited. They bring Truly down. And so they go through the wardrobe and they're sort of looking at exactly what she bought and what she's likely to wear. And the girls are really ecstatic. I don't know what was going on between McKelty and Aspen there. They're siblings, so they're always going to clash. There's always that sibling rivalry that always takes place with most siblings, so it's nothing new. Truly didn't want to be there. It seems Truly doesn't want to film, and because she's a minor, sadly, at times she's pulled into certain situations and doesn't have the power to say no. The outfits were nice. I think there was a bit of TMI. The conversation about sex didn't need to take place. We all didn't need to know that about Christine and David. Christine spoke about her lap dance, during the wedding, and how, David still shows that to people. And it's like, well, what does she expect? She doesn't understand why she did it, but she did it anyway. And then there's this conversation with the wife saying that, when we were married to Cody, we were not affectionate in front of one another. And that's because, this is something that we try to respect each other's wishes. Robyn said she came into the family and it was there. They didn't celebrate Valentine's. And you can't celebrate Valentine's outside of just giving everybody flowers. And the problem with giving everybody flowers, you'd have to give them the same flowers. Otherwise, someone else might feel like theirs are not as beautiful as the other person. Even though we did see him one year, I think, giving his wife's flowers, Cody, if I'm not mistaken. So you have Meri and Janelle. They're still at Coyote Pass. They're discussing what needs to be done in order for this land to be divided. Janelle is sort of compiling all her paperwork for her lawyers, and she's sort of telling Meri what she has on hand if Meri needs it, more or less. That's the impression that I get. And part of me understands why the family was very trusting of Meri. I think Meri grew up being drummed into her head that family, once you get into a plural family, family is the goal, family is the most important thing. Because even you can see she's afraid. And it's like, Meri, you've left this man. He has no power over you. There's no need for you to continue to be afraid. Whether Cody had something he was going to use against her, and that's why she was afraid, or whatever it is, you can see she's afraid. And she actually says so, that, oh, my stomach is in knots because I don't know. I didn't want to get lawyers involved. And it's like, you are at the stage whereby you need to get lawyers involved, because Cody is saying that he's not going to touch Robyn's assets, but he's happy to keep your assets until Robyn wants to sort of dispose of the assets. Because at the end of the day, Robyn has McMansion. Robyn has her name on most of the properties at Coyote Pass. So Robyn is in a better place than everybody else when she is the person who walked into the family with a lot of debt and left the family in a way better financial situation than everybody else. Because I understand she's even bought a more expensive house than the one that she had when they first moved to Flagstaff. She's the reason why they moved to Flagstaff. So for Meri to be so naive is really sad, and it's sort of sheds light on why everybody else wanted her to stay as the legal wife, because irregardless of how mean and whatever else she did, she always had the family at the center of everything. So you have Meri and Janelle saying we contributed a lot of money into the family pot. Janelle has already discussed the fact that she took off a loan to pay off the family's debt. And now she's in a situation whereby she's got nothing to her name because everything was put into this family trust because she believed in family. And so looking at this family, to me, it comes across as though Janelle and Meri were the only people that believed in the family. Janelle and Meri were the people that put in the majority of the money in the family pot and were screwed at the end of the day, because Christine took her money and bought a house, and then when she left, she sold the house and off she went. You have Cody and Robyn, they bought a house, and Janelle and Meri were busy renting because they believed in the big goal. They were looking at the long-term picture, and sadly they were outdone. For Cody to then open his top and bottom lip and say Robyn and I paid the majority of the money, it's like, from where? We haven't seen Robyn do anything. We haven't heard her have a job since she got married into this family outside of that little my sister wife's closet. Meri had the clothes thingy that she was doing. She had the B&B. Janelle was selling properties. What was Robyn doing to get the money? Tell us. Because you saying something and us not seeing something are two totally different things. You can't wish Robyn, Robyn and I paid the majority of the money for Coyote Pass. Well, if the two of you paid the majority of the money, and if Robyn used her money to pay off debt, why was she paying off other people's debt instead of buying her own property? Whose debt was she paying off? Tell us, because the other wives were working. So whose debt was she paying off? Make it make sense? So I can't wait. I really can't wait. I hope everybody got their share. Christine says, they need to divide that property into quarters, and everybody, I said this before, I'll say it again. If they're going to divide Coyote Pass by 4, they need to divide McMansion by 4. These women deserve their money that they put into Robyn's property, including equity that has appreciated over time since she bought that property. They deserve that at least. So they deserve their piece of land from McMansion, and they deserve their piece of their money from McMansion plus whatever equity it's accrued over the years. You have Robyn and Cody. They're sort of making they're sort of assembling this vanity for the princess, because apparently she's always in the makeup. Ariella, so her mom has bought this vanity, and they're going to build this vanity, and they're going to make it pretty for her. They're going to try and do it before she comes back from school. And it's like Cody and Robyn are really trying to play happy families, aren't they? They're really trying to paint this picture of perfection when we all know that he's a crappy father because of the way he's treated his other children. The fact that he's got time to make up this thing for Ariella, he's got time to take Aurora to get her hair or her sort of her ears pierced and go for the baptism and stuff, but he doesn't have time for the OG3's children is shocking for me, and I don't understand why. And I think part of me believes Cody doesn't like the fact that Meri is now friends with Janelle, because he tried to make it seem like Janelle is the reason why he wasn't affectionate with Meri. And it's like, why are we suddenly hearing about it now? It makes sense when somebody tells you about it, that if he wasn't getting along with one or two of his wives, there's no need for him to be making out with the other two wives while the ones that he's fighting with are in this sad space. So I get that. And for Robyn to try and use it as a negative thing, I don't get it as well. I really don't. And they're really starting to get on my nose, Cody and Robyn. What I would give to be a fly on the wall and watch Cody watch this episode, because you have Meri and Janelle talking about the fact that, they really tried their best for the family, but it didn't work out. So they go into this conversation about Meri requesting a spiritual release. And I get the justification for what Meri said, because Meri says, it was her belief that the spiritual marriages were just as strong as the legal marriage. The only difference is you couldn't go to court with one of them. And so this is why when she divorced Cody, she still understood that Cody was still married to Janelle. He was still married to Christine. He was still married to Robyn. So she needed to get the spiritual release so that she's not stuck in the eternities with this man. And this is why she went down that route. For Cody to have the audacity to say, Meri, yes, he agrees that she told him that she wanted to do this. He agrees that he knew that she was going to go and do this, but he says he chose not to go with her. He just pretended to be dumb because he knows that had he gone, then she would never have got the release, because you only get the release if the woman is in the right. If the woman is in the wrong, then you don't get the release. Oh, if I had given my opinions of what happened, they would never have given a release. And it's like, buddy, somebody from your show must watch Sister Wives. I bet that somebody from your church must watch Sister Wives, or must have been on social media, or must have heard about the way you were treating Meri enough to know that you abandoned this woman. So the audacity to sit there with a straight face and say that, had I given my reasons why this marriage wasn't working, Meri would never have got a release, but then I didn't want to be stuck with her. You didn't want to be stuck with her from the moment you met, Robyn. That's when you didn't want to be stuck with Meri, but you used Meri and all your other wives to help you win Robyn. And once you won Robyn and you were set and you had your family with Robyn and you had bought your McMansion, that's when you left everybody else in the dark dust and off you went. So the audacity to say, had I given my reasons, Meri would never have got the spiritual release, but I didn't want to be stuck with her, so this is why I didn't go, I didn't involve myself. No, he is hurt by the fact that they called him out and told him that you abandoned your wife, and he was seen as a failure, because to him, he doesn't want to be seen as a failure. So the idea that, Meri went and was able to get a release and was able to tell or prove that he had failed her, that's what grinds his nerves. Meri still has this fear of, the idea of what a family should be. That's the impression that I get, because she's constantly trying to make sure she doesn't say anything that upsets anyone, or she doesn't do anything that upsets anyone. I love the fact that Janelle was able to understand where Meri was coming from, and she said, she doesn't know whether she wants a spiritual release, but she understands the value of their marriages, and so she will think about it. She's not ready to get married, but if she does meet someone, she doesn't want that person to sort of be there and she's stuck in the eternities with this man, so she might consider it. And I love that Meri said, if you want, I'm happy to take you. And I'm like, oh my God, Cody is going to be blowing a gasket when he says this. The fact that they both recognize that they're never going to be the best of friends, but they believe in family and they'll always look out for each other's best interest is what I love about Meri and Janelle. They never say anything mean or malicious or vindictive about any either one of them. Outside of the fact that, the time that Janelle spoke about Meri slamming the doors and stuff, but they've always been cordial, they've always been understanding, and they've always worked very well to make the family better. So I love that they were able to do this for one another. If they can both get their monies, the better. They need their money from McMansion. That's the next thing. So you have the two people in relationships. Well, the two couples in relationships go for their, Valentine's dinner. You have Christine and David. They go for their dinner, and Cody goes with Robyn. I love Christine and David. They were very relaxed and very laid back. It wasn't, extra smancy. Christine put on, obviously, the dress that she had tried with the girls, and she really looked cute. And I love that she said, I love how we look when we walk into a room with David. We look aesthetically pleasing. I love that he makes me feel special. He makes me feel comfortable. And Christine has always come across, as she said, as a hopeless romantic. So I'm happy that she has a man who gives her what she wants in a relationship, a man who appreciates her, a man who seems to adore her, a man who's constantly complimenting her. She talks about how she lost her confidence after Cody said he wasn't attracted to her. So finding someone who's always saying, I love you, you're beautiful, this, that, and the other, is something that she really needed. And for David to say, it was worth waiting for you, because it seems he was single for 11 years after his wife passed away, until he decided to marry someone, and Christine was that person he married. I love it. I think they look cute. I think they really do. I love how they she did talk about her marriage to Cody, which I think David found a bit awkward, and he eventually steered the conversation away from it, because Christine was talking about the fact that, for Valentine's, Cody would have a family party, or there were occasions where he gave us flowers and then he would go around kissing us. And now that she's in a monogamous relationship, she can't understand how she put up with Cody kissing all his wives in front of one another. And it's something I think, because they grew up in that culture, in that belief, this is all they knew. And so leaving that and coming away from that and being in a monogamous relationship has really been an eye-opener for Christine. Even though seasons ago, I did say it in one of my reviews that I think watching her daughters get married, watching her daughters be valued by their husband, be loved on, is the reason why Christine realized that her marriage to Cody wasn't working, and she packed her stuff and she left, which rightfully she should have. You have Robyn and Cody, they go on their date, and so Cody brings her this present where he bought her some earrings, and it's like he keeps spending money. We saw the little vanity that he made for Ariella. We saw the all the fancy stuff in his house. And where is he getting that money from? For Robyn to ask, are you sure you want to be monogamous? Robyn doesn't want him to have another wife because she believes in pro families. She wants another wife so that they can get a source of income, because she knows for a fact that now she has to get off her bottom and actually do some work, because Cody can only support her shopping for so long. So she actually has to do some work, because Janelle and Meri, the workhorses, have gone and they've taken their pockets with them. They spoke about Cody going to visit his children. This man, is the audacity for me, is the audacity. He has to play victim. He has to blame someone else for his shortcomings. For him to say, my children hate me because their mothers say all the negative stuff. And it's like, if you are a present dad, if you were there, then the mothers wouldn't need to say anything. In this day where you've got, social media, you've got information technology, why can't he keep in contact with his children? Why does he need the mothers to speak up for him? Anyway, truly is the only person who is you could say, oh, she needs her mother to advocate for her. Everybody else is an adult, so it doesn't make sense for them to sort of say, McKelty, was it Aspen? No, Aspen sort of confronted me. She didn't confront you. She asked you a question as her father. And you, as the father, should have been man enough to say yes or no to that. For you and your wife to try and make it seem like she tried to attack you, I don't get it. They're already in trouble with Maddie because of some of the words that come out of his mouth. And so the audacity to start labeling another child doesn't make sense. For him to try and retract his words that he didn't love his wife. Oh, I was so hurt. I was this. They were hurt as well, but they never said anything negative about you. The only person who said negative things was Christine. Meri and Janelle kept it stepping. They have never come out and said, they have called you out for some of the things you've done, but they've never been negative or said anything malicious or vindictive. So the audacity to make it seem like these women painted you as the villain. You've painted yourself as the villain. Your children are on social media. Your children, I would love to believe that at some point they do come across your show and they see some of the ludicrous things you say, and that's why they have problems with you. It's not because their mothers are sitting them in a corner and are sort of saying to them, oh, this is what your dad is saying, this is what. No, they would need, oh my God, 2-3 years to go through every single thing you said and done. So the idea that you think that this is why your children don't like you is shocking. Anyway, it was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the parts with Janelle and Meri. I thought that was really very helpful, very insightful. I love that Meri has more people sort of speaking reason into her and sort of trying to sort of cleanse whatever beliefs she was brought up with, just to make her see that you can't always trust everybody. Just because someone is smiling at you doesn't mean they love you. So I'm happy that Janelle is joining the voices of, Jen and everybody else and sort of making Meri see the light. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 21. Bye guys.